Welcome back, guys. I'm Chris, a retired fiber splicer, forcefully due to the loss of eyesight. This will be the third video in the playlist series OSP Fiber Optics. We're going to be discussing cable IDs and fiber counts, what you see on a print, and how to decipher what it's wanting you to do at the location you're at. Unfortunately, I can't use legitimate prints or old maps that I have due to legal reasons, non-disclosure stuff, and privacy concerns. But I've helped engineer enough of them that we shouldn't need them. So let's think, what is it that we're really doing here? We're referencing a number to a color. More often than not, it's in groups of 12. Blue, orange, green, brown, slate, white, red, black, yellow, violet, rose, aqua. Now, I've seen some old unitube, gel-filled, yarn-separated cables from like 89 to 91 or 2 that don't have those 12 colors. They've got the first 10, but the rose and aqua are different. There will be a blue-clear fiber and either an orange-clear fiber or just a plain old clear fiber. And the way that we always handled that situation was the blue-clear one became our rose because it came first in the color code, and the straight clear one was our aqua, or the orange, because it came second in the color code. I've also seen a couple 16 count fibers or 8 count fibers from way back in the day that were similar to that. So on our prints, when we look at them, we'll have a splice location, for example. It'll show the cable route before and after the splice point, however it's designated, and the legend will clear up what's a splice point, a new build, existing cable, new cable, underground cable, aerial cable, all that stuff in the legends on the prints. Okay, so here's a very basic example of what you might see on a print. If you look at it, you find your splice point. Here's your cable ID and fiber counts, okay? So it'll say something along the lines of similar to BFO 12. If it's a 12 count fiber, in some way, shape, or form, they'll have some unique lettering and then a number designating the size of the cable. The XD refers to the dead or dark fibers. The letters could be DD, it could be A, it could be XF, XD. It all depends on the company that's creating this print. But if it doesn't have a cable ID in front of it, like this FC925 through 12 does, then more often than not, they're dark fibers, regardless what the letters are. So the FC920 is the cable's ID. And what that means is, wherever that service originates from, let's just use the central office as this example, okay? Downtown, almost every city, each telephone company has what they call a central office. It's where all their telephone and internet equipment is. The beginning of the outside plant build starts inside that telephone office, which could be a remote, a hut, a cabinet. It could be a lot of different things, but for this example, we're going to use the central office of the telephone company. Inside that central office is going to be racks and racks of equipment, and within those racks there's going to be these panels, patch panels, FDPs, the fiber distribution panels. That's where the cable IDs comes from. The one we're working with here at the CO is FC920. Okay, out of that 96 count patch panel, the FC920 1 to 96 panel at the CO, fibers 5 through 12 are what run through this particular run of fiber that we're out splicing. So once you get every splice point done to the end of the line and you splice into either a remote or a cell tower, wherever the final destination is, the point B, the FDP that it goes into, there's got to be some way to plug a connector in for the telephone company to plug their equipment over from it and patch it into this panel, right? So the A to B path starts at the CO as A. Out of the cable ID patch panel FC920, it runs all the way to wherever it's going to the other FDP at B. And those 8 fibers, 5 through 12, out of the central office's patch panel is what you're going to be putting your light on to test through. That just happens to be slate, white, red, black, yellow, violet, rose, aqua. The last 8 fibers in the 12 in the blue buffer tube. Okay, now we've got the same situation. We've got 2 12 count fibers. We're at a splice point. But now we've got the first 4 fibers still dead, except the count is now FC 920, 89 through 96. We know what we have to do at that splice point is splice the last 8 fibers straight through, because the first 4 are dead on both cables, right? The CO side and the field side. Now, when you get done splicing it end to end, A to B, what you'd end up doing is going in the central office, finding the FC 920 panel, but this time it's feeding out of ports 89 through 96. And this is where some newer guys have a hard time wrapping their head around this, because a lot of times we've got guys out in the field, we'll just hand them a map and say, hey, go butt splice this, or, go prep this can, there's real no requirement for us to learn these things, man. And honestly, the guys that I knew that were some of the best guys in the industry had a hard time even explaining some of this stuff. And if you notice, no different than the 5 through 12 that it was just a minute ago, and now it's 89 through 96, it's still on color. So although the blue buffer tube is 1 through 12, fibers 5 through 12 are slate through aqua. In the black buffer tube of the 96 count cable, we're still on the slate through aqua fibers. So we want to try to keep everything on color. Okay, so here's another example. So now we've got the same cable ID, the FC 920 patch panel coming out of the CO. That's our cable ID. We're at the same splice point. The first 4 fibers are dead, okay? It's 89 through 95 now, which is fibers 5 through 11, and 12 is dead. So even though it's numbers 89 through 95 and we're in a 12 count cable, we're still on color with our fibers. We're gonna splice through basically fibers 5 through 11, straight splice through, because this is but basically it's a straight splice. There's no tap here. So the count behind the cable ID, like here on this FC 920 89 through 95, should always be on color. I'm not saying that it is gonna always be on color, but it should be. Okay, so here's another example. So now we've got a tap. Now we've got our CO side, we've got our field side, and we've got to a pedestal or a cabinet. We've got to something here that we've got to drop a fiber off at, okay? So our CO side cable is dead 1 to 4, FC 920, 89 through 96. Okay, that's our CO side. And if you notice over here, the count is still the same as it was just a minute ago. It's 89 through 95, XD12, because now we're taking FC 920's 96 fiber and we're pushing it into the first fiber of this 4 count fiber here that goes off to our tap, whatever, our ped, somebody's house, whatever. So we have 8 fibers coming from the CO, 1 drops off here, 7 keep continuing on. Do you see what I'm saying? Now if you notice, that aqua fiber 96 has been spliced to the blue fiber. Well, there's not an aqua fiber in a 4 count fiber, so you can't keep it on color. And some different telephone companies, they would have rather that had been spliced to fiber number 4, starting at the back and working their way to the front. But what I'm trying to get you guys to realize is how these counts work. So at this location here, that's FC 920, fiber 96, at this ped we dropped it off at, we're gonna go to the central office, find the FC 920 patch panel, the FDP, plug our light or OTDR, whatever we're using, power meter, into port 96. Then we're gonna go out here to this ped where we dropped off that 12th fiber out of our CO side cable here, and we're gonna test back from A to B. All right. The other 7 fibers continue on. More than likely, they're going to continue to drop off at PEDs. The next fiber that drops off is going to be FC 92095. The next PED past that's going to be 94. You see what I'm saying? And then the dead counts on this cable are going to just keep adding up. The next location we get to is going to have XD 11 and 12 because we dropped off 96 here and 95 at the next one. Then at the one after that, we're going to drop off 94, so it's going to be XD 10 through 12. I know it's kind of hard to wrap our heads around this count thing, and this is a very simple explanation of it. It gets hecka elaborative, but I hope that helps somebody. Like I said, I can't get in the field anymore, but if I can be of service to any of you individuals out there splicing fiber, or any of you crew leads or companies out there need a consultant, by all means, I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's kind of the benefit of being on disability and not being able to get out in the field. I ain't got nothing but time now. So I'll put my email down right here. Send me an email with your contact information. I will reach out to you, and I would love to build a relationship. Y'all can call me with any trouble tickets you have, emergencies in the middle of the night. Call me anytime. I'll be more than happy to work with you and help you figure it out. See y'all later.